And thanks, Josh, for the invitation. I'm pretty honored to speak at this excellent event, and hopefully we can have a good discussion afterwards. So I'll just run through a short presentation. As Josh said, my name is Carsten Kjær Joensen. I'm heading the Danish Life Sciences Office at the Ministry of Industry, Business and Financial Affairs. Basically, I'll run through a couple of points on this agenda. I'll say a little bit about the original growth plan for life science from 2018. Something about the Office for Life Science, which I'm heading. The focus that we have at the moment in the life science area, and what the current government has done in this area, and finish up with a present initiative, which is also looking into following up on the present COVID crisis. So, first of all, the growth plan for life science from 2018. It started actually with the former government setting up a growth team for life science in 2016. It was you could say an approach used in a variety of areas. This of setting up growth teams, including some of the businesses and organizations from the relevant area, and also including scientists from the universities and other participants to kind of look into how some of these sectors could be further enhanced and contribute to long-term growth in the Danish economy. So the growth team was working and submitted its recommendations to the former minister in March 17. And then the former government presented a growth plan for life science in March 18. And there was a broad political agreement behind the growth plan. It had 6 areas for focus areas, which I just list here. It's to ensure attractive conditions for R&D in Denmark, to attract more clinical research and trials to Denmark, to have a top-class Danish medicines agency, to look into the ability to better access skilled labor, to support startups and the digital transformation of the life science industry, and to have a targeted internationalization approach. And the idea was to kind of to enhance this sector throughout the entire value chain, going from R&D and all the way to the export. So that was the overall idea of the growth plan, and it had 36 initiatives, and one final initiative was to establish a life science office in the Ministry of Industry, Business and Financial Affairs, and the office was then established in 2018. So it's a little more than 2 years old, and I think you can probably say that the life science industry in Denmark is now making up such a large amount of the economy, and the Danish exports. Currently, it's around 20% of all exports from Denmark. So there was a need to have a more focused approach also in the government. So the role of the Life Science Office basically is, apart from, of course, following up on the growth plan and ensuring that it's implemented, it's also to be the entry point for the life science industry when talking to the Danish government. So we spend a lot of time, of course, talking to the industry and discussing how the framework conditions for the life science industry in Denmark can be supported or enhanced, and then we take some of these ideas and issues and bring them into the government and talk to our colleagues at the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Research or the Ministry of Taxation, and see how we can gradually improve the framework conditions for the life science industry. Of course, also taking into account the other interests and issues you have to take into account in relation to the treatment of patients and the healthcare system in general. So that's how we pretty much see our role in the life science office to listen to the industry, to discuss, and then to bring this discussion into the government. And again, as the original growth plan, we also try to look at the entire value chain and approach a wide variety of issue which come up in relation to how strong the framework conditions for the life science industry are in Denmark. The unit also, or the office also, conducts some different analysis, benchmarking with other countries, and we make a yearly footprint analysis, as we call it, where we look into how is the footprint of the life science industry in the Danish economy. We made the first one last year, and the next one is due in just a couple of weeks, looking at the contribution to Danish exports, to taxation, to employment, to research and development. How important is this industry actually to the Danish economy? So that's also something that we spend a lot of time on. Yeah, so just looking a little bit at what our focus is at the moment. Of course, we have a global health crisis, which is taking up a lot of time. But if we just look a bit further than that, at the moment, I listed here 5 areas where we have a focus and we're working on. One is you could say the uptake of innovative products and medicines in the Danish healthcare system. How can we enhance that? So we have launched a partnership, including private businesses, but also some of the ministries and the hospitals, regions, to have kind of bring together the right people to enhance the uptake of innovative solutions in the health care system, which is, in our view, a very important part of course, enhancing the industry and supporting exports, that the products are actually used also in the Danish system. And it will also benefit, of course, the Danish patients and the Danish healthcare system if the innovative products can be faster incorporated into the system. Then we also continue to look at the framework conditions for clinical trials. One initiative in the original growth plan was to establish kind of a single point of entry for clinical trials. We call it Trial Nation, which is a collaboration between, again, the private companies and the public sector, with the regions and the government involved. And we continually look to strengthen this organization and also look at the general framework conditions for clinical trials in Denmark. Then a third issue we look into is better access to healthcare data. I think in Denmark we have a quite strong set of patient data and healthcare data due to how they have been registered and collected during the years. In our view, the use of this data can be enhanced to the benefit of patients and companies, and that is something that we also have focus on and discuss with both with industry and our colleagues in government. Then of course we continue to look at how can we support exports and internationalization in collaboration, of course, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also as part of the growth plan again, an organization called Healthcare Denmark was not established but strengthened, also with a life science focus, looking at how to promote the Danish healthcare solutions internationally. So we spend a lot of time on that as well and strengthening that organization. And finally, in the spring, or actually late last year, the Danish government set up 13 climate partnerships, as they were called, basically asking the industry to contribute with ideas to how Denmark should or shall reach our quite ambitious climate targets. And there was a climate partnership for life sciences and biotech, and they came up with a number of excellent proposals. And as part of the general government focus on climate change and what to do, of course we looked to follow up on these recommendations. So these are 5 issues or areas where we have our focus at the moment. Of course, we look into a range of different issues as well. Also have a focus on at the EU level and the EU pharmaceutical strategy, which is also being discussed, and the general follow-up to the health crisis at the EU level, again in close cooperation with our colleagues in government. So just listed here, and I won't go through it in detail, but the Danish government has taken a number of steps. The present government, which came into office a year ago, has taken already a number of steps to enhance the framework conditions for the life science industry. Some of them in relation in general, and some of them related to the present crisis. I'll not go through all of them, but of course I listed, as I mentioned before, the partnership on innovative public health procurement. There's a call out to establish a national cluster for life science and welfare technology, kind of bringing together all the strong forces in this area in Denmark. There's a new strategy for attracting foreign investments, which is also very relevant for the life sciences industry. In the spring, there was a very strong export and investment package, following up on the issues arising from the crisis, and also on the funding side, the public, it's called the Growth Fund, public fund, is partnering in a new life science fund in the Nordics, trying to enhance funding of new Danish and other life science companies. So the government has a strong focus in this area and has already done a number of things. So what we are working on at the moment, and as an explicit follow-up to the crisis, the government decided to establish 8 they're called restart teams. It's probably a bad translation from Danish, but basically 8 teams of business CEOs or the like, who have been asked to come up with recommendations on how to restart the Danish export following the crisis. There's a kind of a financial framework for this, but also they can recommend, of course, they can come with recommendations which are not which do not require financial support, but could be of more regulatory nature. And there's a restart team for life science and biotech, and I think it's the impact on the life science industry is quite varied. In Denmark, probably also in other countries, where some parts have done well or at the status quo, and other parts have been hit quite severely by the crisis. The team is chaired by Lars Brogaard, who is the CEO of Novo Nordisk, and it consists of a number of companies and trade and labor associations, and also the Danish regions are participating. So they're working on kind of identifying the contemporary challenges and the short-term and long-term opportunities and possibilities, and I said to report in the middle of September, and based on that, the government will kind of make take initiative based on the recommendations from all 8 restart teams. So that was, I think, in short, a rundown of how Danish life science or the government approach to Danish life science has developed since 2018, the establishment of the office that I had, and what we're looking at the moment. And of course, a lot of our work is related to the current crisis and the follow-up to the crisis, but we're also trying to keep our focus on the more longer term issues.